My group will be talking about North America, the STEM and social context. So we'll be starting from thousands of years ago to Mesoamerica and then gradually go up to present time on the timeline.
So when it comes to Mesoamerica, most of their math and science was based on timekeeping. So they were focused on calendars. They had three of them. One of them was a 260-day calendar based on Venus's orbit, and then 365-day based on Earth's. And then they have the long calendar where they just tried to keep it as long as possible so they won't run out of days. Now, when it comes to their technology, I couldn't really find too much, but I did find that they would use tools most of this time. They would use picks, spears, handles, swords, and teeth to get them through the day. And then now, what I was saying about like the spears and all those tools, it's actually right here. You can see the different spears that they had. Like you have the splints, the bottom ones, the chipped ones. Now, when it comes to engineering, that's a whole different story. There's much more to go about that compared to the other subjects. Like the first one I came across was wood pipe. I mean, they would do stone pipes and then make them out of figurines and stuff like that. And then the next thing would be something like this. It's called a work club, and they would make it out of primarily wood, and they would use it there. The people would use it as a for hand fighting all the time, instead of actually using different skills. And then another thing, everybody would do pottery. So with this, when I was reading it, it was saying that most of the time they would do the decorative pottery for funeral maids. So they would make them, and then when someone was being buried, they would just have these inside with the person that's being buried. Another thing besides what I just previously said, they would make stone heads. So one of them was called the maize god, which is like the corn god, and they would kind of worship it because it had its in the thing it would have its hands cradled as if it's blessing them with corn. So lastly, another big thing would be the architecture. It did have a lot of buildings such as the Chaco Canyon. Another one is one called Taos Pueblo. So it's also a community, and it was also located in New Mexico. And there's also model ruins. There's hieroglyphic stairway.
Hello, my name is Marisa Castillo, and I will be talking about the historic origins of North America. I will be explaining a timeline of historical events, people situations that have happened in the past and that are history to us today. 15,000 years ago, near the end of the Ice Age, the first migration of Paleo Indians arrived to North America. 11,200 years ago, Clovis culture was introduced to North America, and they are known for inventions of superbly crafted grooved or fluted stone projectiles. 10,900 years ago, the Folsom culture developed a smaller, thinner fluted spear point that Clovis type, and they hunted big game, notably the huge bison ancestors of the modern buffalo. 10,500 years ago, the Plainview culture adopted mass hunting technique to drive animals herd off a cliff. North and 8,500 years ago, the Northwest Coast Indians settled along the shore rivers and creeks of southeastern Alaska to northern California. It is a maritime culture where they were expert in canoeing. In 1327, the Aztecs established Mexico City. In 1492, Christopher Columbus found the Americas. In 1598, New Mexico was claimed by the Spanish explorers. In 1629, English captured the Quebec City. From the 17,000s to the 18,000s, King George War began in 1744. In 1773, the Boston Tea Party started in December.
So some things that are important to us now that were created in North America back in the day are things such as pottery, cotton, calendars, and tools. So each of these things have their own significance in today's society. Pottery is used to store things. It always has been. It's used for things such as spiritual urns, storage and transport of materials, and it's used also as an artistic medium. This can be just creating an easy, simple little craft, or it can be something to store something in. So it has been like that for as long as you can remember, and still remains that today. Cotton is a very important part of the fiber industry, the textile industry actually, and it is a fabric that we use in all of our clothes, or the majority of our clothes, and also plays a role in feed and oil industries. And so it is a very important part of the industries that we have here in North America. And then calendars. Calendars are so important. Everybody uses calendars almost on a daily basis. You use a calendar to know what day it is, to know what month it is, to know what year it is, and those are things that you see every single day. Children use calendars to write the date on their paper. Us as adults, we use calendars to keep informed and organized on the events or daily tasks that we have going on. That way, instead of having to juggle our everyday things, we can have it in a calendar so we know when, where, and exactly what we need to know to keep us updated. And then tools are used to achieve a goal of some sort. You have tools that used to start out as just picks and spears that have now evolved into tools for everything. There's writing utensils, there are food utensils, there are every single tool that you use to fix a car or build a house, and everything of those sort derived from the beginning tools that they would use. There are many ways that STEM is used in today's society, and that's why it's so important that all of these things were derived from the very beginning, and that it's evolved so much since then.
One of the current events that has to do with STEM is San Antonio, Texas, which is part of North America. San Antonio is an important city for trade, commerce, banking, in the military, in the medical field, and its culture that traces back to natives, the Spanish, and when it was part of Mexico. Thus, evidence shown that the San Antonio was a vital part for humanity is of the remains found of human remains and artifacts that dates back to 10,000 BC, which evidence that it was very important. Once the Spanish arrived, they settled near the San Antonio River, building their missions. The importance of the San Antonio River was for plant growing and crops. In the 1950s, a plan began to channelize the San Antonio River for the purpose of flood control. Although it did its part once completed, however, it caused a negative impact in the ecosystem. Moving forward to 2010, the plan for the restoration of the San Antonio River began. The purpose is to bring the San Antonio River back to its natural look before it was channelized in the 50s. The purpose was for flood control, natural water flow, and bringing the wildlife back to its ecosystem that once thrived, which is very important breakthrough. Also, the South Texas Medical Center is very important in the field of medicine. For example, a research for medicine in order to find a cure, and future technologies to be implemented, such as the 3D printing for patients who depend on organ transplant, which in the future it would reduce the time waiting and when it's
So I
available.
hope you enjoyed our group presentation on North America STEM and social context, and thank you again.